Hi, I'm Denise. I work for the Open Data Lab in Jakarta. The essence of what we do is that we try to utilize open data to find solutions to solve social problems. We also try to work with local communities, civil society, and citizens, and we try to empower them so that they would have a better understanding of data. Because, if you want things to be sustainable, if you want your city to be sustainable, if you want anything to be sustainable, it has this whole disparity between people who understand data and those who don't have to be bridged.
I'm Christel Manke. I'm working for the Goethe Institut Jakarta now for almost 7 years. The Goethe Institut is a German cultural institute. Of course, we are doing language courses and film festivals. But I'm the head of the library, and we are trying to reach out to the digital society, to the civil society in Indonesia, because I think this is where the real interesting people are and where our mostly young target groups will be. So we can tell them something about Germany, but our main purpose is really to bring people from Germany and from Indonesia together and then do great things.
Open data, open data has several criteria for it to be considered as open data. Some of the things are, how reusable is it? It should be open licensed, so people should be free to reuse it, reshare it, redistribute, and just even use it. Another thing is the file format, for instance, that it has to be in formats that are actually reusable. So for example, a JPEG or a PNG or even a PDF is not considered as an open format. There are several different criteria for it, and it depends on which definition you look, but the top three would be that it's shareable and reusable, the format, and that it's machine readable. So this was already two years ago, in 2015, I had a talk, my first ever talk in Republika, and it was talking about open data in Indonesia, using open data to improve education, facilities like the quality of education, and all that in Banda Aceh in Indonesia. Christel happened to be there, and then we got in touch.
Yeah, it was also my first Republika, and I was very impressed by all these people here. But I thought, well, there's not many people from Southeast Asia or Indonesia. And then in the long list of participants, I found one person from Indonesia, well, my name and her name. So I thought, I have to go there. I have to meet this person from Indonesia. And what's funny, because it turns out that I'm a German person working in Indonesia. Denise comes from the Philippines, but we are both considered Indonesians. So we sat together, and of course later in Jakarta we met. And we just realized again that we were not having a project that we pitched to each other. We were just sitting together and then developing this whole open data to life to data project together as a cooperation between an open data lab and the Goethe Institut. So they were always talking about open data, and I learned a lot about it. And I was also always talking about, let's give it a cultural angle, let's insert some cultural practice like photography in it. And yeah, now you've seen our baby. It's the exhibition here.
Yes. So the project's name is Data to Life, Life to Data. I think the name itself already says something, or at least I hope it does. But the concept behind it is that we wanted to capture the impact of data on everyday lives using photography. So the thing is, there's data everywhere. We're surrounded by it, but not all of us still fully understand the potential and the impact of it. And we have to bridge that. We have to make data more understandable and more relatable for everyone. And we also wanted to do a bit of a more creative project, and this was just the perfect angle for it. So we thought, why not incorporate culture and data together and use photography to capture the impact of data.
And as we all know, everybody is taking photos all the time nowadays. That's even maybe more true in Indonesia, where people are actually born with a smartphone in their hand. I think there are more smartphones than inhabitants in Indonesia. but making them understand that a picture can have a power, can tell a story, and that you can put your photos together to tell a visual story that can be transferred to a different environment, like the exhibition here in Berlin. That was a huge step for many of our participants. So we actually brought together NGO people, village people, and professional photographers. So there were more than one learning experience and learning possibility in this whole project. And we had a very good feedback from all the participants and also from the people who saw the exhibition. So I think it really makes sense to bring this open data and cultural practice together.
And then one more thing is that nowadays everything is digital. So it's also important to think about other methods that might not be digital, because the community you're trying to reach out to might not even be connected. So for instance, the city where we did the project, it's called Jakarta in Indonesia. The internet penetration rate there is not so high. Their most trusted medium is still the newspaper. So if you try to teach them about data and everything is electronic and digital, they might not necessarily be as passionate about it as if you do it, say, through a newspaper or through photography or through more analog means.
So we did a really wonderful, big and glossy exhibition. You see some of the pictures there, but the exhibition is actually much bigger, and after showing it in Jakarta, the city where we did the project, and then in Jakarta, we then gave it back to Jakarta. Now it's traveling through the villages, and people can actually invite their friends and show their photos as a wonderful print as part of a digital story, which they could not have done if this project wasn't there. So it's also a evaluation of their understanding of photography, and it's a evaluation of their city, of their lives, of their cultural stories.
What's my story? Well, data is the new currency. And I'm one of those people who actually believe that we need to level it out. We need to also empower those who might not necessarily have access to it. And we do that by making data easier to understand and easier to relate for not just data analysts, but for everyone.
Yeah. So the story I see and the project is that, first of all, you have to dare to reach out to people who are doing very different things from what you're doing yourself. I learned a lot about open data, and I learned a lot about the open data labs that work very differently from us. And I think it's very important to combine the digital and the analog thing, and to let people meet in real life. I think if you bring both together, then you have the maximum impact.